Hello, viewers and learners of the Postgraduate Diploma in Environmental and Occupational Health and Master of Arts in Environmental and Occupational Health. Welcome to this program. We all know that ozone protects life on this earth, and without this layer, the UV radiations would have disastrous effects on the planet and also on the ecosystem, on the human health, and so many other ecosystems. So this session today will discuss on the ozone day, its history, its significance, and whether there are any international treaties and whether they proved to be successful. To discuss this, we have two experts with us in our studio, Professor R. Bhaskar from the School of Sciences in Discipline of Geology. Welcome to this program. And Professor B. Rupini, Professor from the Discipline of Environmental Studies. Welcome to this program.
Thank you, Dr. Sushmita.
So first, Professor Bhaskar, I would like to ask you to give an introduction to our learners about the ozone, why the ozone day is being celebrated, and what is the significance, and how ozone helps in protecting life on the earth.
Okay. You have already given a broad introduction about the ozone day. Why it is important for us to understand here that we are celebrating this day because of protecting the ozone layer. What is more important is humans have been responsible for this ozone depletion, just like climate change or acid rain. That means our actions have led to the ozone depletion. We can take steps to rectify it. Now, if you see the atmospheric layers, there is the troposphere and then you have the stratosphere. And if you see that the stratosphere is between 10 to 50 kilometer range, in that layer we have a ozone layer, and this ozone layer protects us from harmful ultraviolet rays of the sun. Had there been no layer, there would be no life possible. When was it first discovered? When we see, it was first discovered in 1985 in a journal in Nature. Three scientists, British scientists, published this paper where they show deduction of low amounts of ozone in the over the Antarctic. Now this alarmed the scientists, and 1980s was famous for many things, and one of the things that was very common in the news was the depletion of ozone layer, and people predicted that humanity may come to an end soon if we do not act upon it. But because of the work of the scientists, the media, the TV shows, the films which were made, the involvement of the stakeholders, all the global leaders acted upon this. And this was very important. Now, if you see that ozone is also important for evolution of life and also for protection of life. If you see the normal process of ozone formation, 90% of the ozone which is formed is recycled on a equilibrium basis without any disturbance. But when some pollutant enters, like a human activity release the CFCs, then this disturbance is there. It is very fragile, but it is very protective and necessary for the environment. For life to evolve on Earth, it was important that ozone was there. If you see the researches which are done, in the early Earth, even the bacteria which was there, when there was no ozone, they had an iron coating on their surface because that protected them from the harmful UVB radiation. That you can see that evolution of life took a rapid pace only after the ozone formation took place. Now the question is, what is ozone depletion? This was also called ozone hole. It is not ozone hole, basically it is ozone depletion. This is the lowered concentration of ozone in the stratosphere, and what is the consequence of this? You have more amount of UV radiations reaching, harmful UV radiations reaching the earth if you have lower concentration. Now UN decided in 1994 to observe the day the Montreal Protocol was signed in 1987 as the International Day for Preservation of Ozone Layer. If you see, we celebrate this for a number of reasons, just to create awareness, to tell the importance of ozone, how it balances life on the earth, etc. If you see this year's theme, it is global cooperation for protecting life on earth. That means it is very important all nations should come together and act. That is why it is a global protection. And it is also important that we should protect the life by protecting ozone. That is the importance of this layer. Sushmita.
Thank you, Professor Bhaskar, for explaining the importance of ozone and the Ozone Day, like why it is being celebrated, and also the theme that we have taken in order to observe the 16th of September 2022 as the World Ozone Day. Now coming to you, ma'am, like can you explain to our learners, and specifically this is for the course of MEV 001, that is Introduction to Environmental Health, on the causes for the ozone depletion and some of the reactions, the chemical reactions that are responsible for creating a depletion in the ozone layer.
Thank you, Dr. Sushmita. Apart from Professor Bhaskar said that, so what exactly the ozone? Everybody knows that Ozone Day every year we are celebrating on September 16th every year. That is the International Ozone Day. And then we are understanding about the ozone. So for the learners especially, so they don't know about that what exactly the ozone is, whether it is a liquid, whether it is a gas, whether it is a solid. But ozone is a gas. The chemical formula is, that is the O3. It is very ubiquitous in nature, and also it has some attention in the atmospheric research. Even though it is very common component for the atmosphere's natural oxidation chemistry to the troposphere especially, and we will consider as a major greenhouse gas. If we will see that if it is a greenhouse gas, it is not directly released, but it is a byproduct of the many chemical reactions. And also it has a lot of harmful health effects on the people as well as the ecosystems. So hence normally we can call it as a stratospheric ozone as a good ozone, and then very bad ozone in the tropospheric region, we can say that. So the research study findings always indicates that ozone is still faces a variety of distinct issues, like that is related to explaining the surface patterns and also taking into account of the new chemicals, and also the connecting ozone to the climate, and also providing a more accurate assessment of the consequences. So the ozone depletion is a transboundary in nature, so it should be addressed on the global level basis. And also especially the focus should be on the hemispheric dimension. If you will see the stratospheric ozone, so it is one of the layers of the atmosphere. It is almost 10 to 50 kilometers above the Earth's surface. And also the ozone especially, it is present in the stratosphere, even though 90% of the ozone we can say that it is present in the stratosphere, and it is an invisible layer. So it is invisible layer, 90% of the ozone is present in that layer, and especially it will guard as well as the protect the entire earth, human beings as well as the ecosystem as well as the environmental health also, because it stops as well as absorbs the harmful UV radiation from the sun. So normally we can call it as the stratospheric ozone acts as a natural sunscreen to the earth's surface. And if you will see that how it will form in the stratospheric region. So whatever it is the chemicals, the atmosphere, in the atmospheric gases, oxygen is present. So whenever this oxygen molecule, when absorbed a photon of energy from the sunlight, and what it will do, it will split into two atomic oxygens. So again these atomic oxygens are the free radicals, and obviously they are very reactive species especially, and then again it will react with the another oxygen molecule, and again the ozone will form. That means it is a continuous process. And at the same time, the ozone destructive chemicals or ozone destructive substances, if they are present in the stratospheric region, what they will do, it will split again these ozone molecules into individual oxygen atoms and also individual oxygen molecules. So there is a natural balance between the formation of the ozone as well as the destruction of the ozone. So now we will see the tropospheric oxygen. So what the significance of the tropospheric oxygen? So that is also one of the layer of the tropospheric oxygen. It is especially present in the Earth's surface, and also the main sources are the burning of the fossil fuels, and also the compounds which are present in the human activities, we can say that human activities because of that, and also the especially the nitric oxides, that is the nitrogen oxides which are present in the atmosphere, that is also causes the formation of the ozone. And also whenever these chemicals which are present in the general atmosphere, they will come in contact with the UV radiation absorption by from the sun rays, and also they will split into the nitric oxide as well as the oxygen free radical. So this is a chain reaction will happen. So the formation of the ozone, especially in the troposphere, will be done by the anthropogenic chemicals, which the man-made chemicals, we can say that. So what are those man-made chemicals? Next we will look into that one. So if you will see this one, there are three types of radiation we are observing over here. So that means there are three parts of UV spectrum from the sun's radiation, that is UVA, UVB as well as UVC. So on the basis of their wavelengths, these three types of radiation differ in their biological activity and also the skin penetration power. So the UVB as well as the UVC regions especially absorbed by ozone, oxygen, water vapor and also carbon dioxide when sunlight passes through the atmosphere. So this is a very natural process, and every day it is simultaneously it is occurring in the nature. We are not realizing, but the entire atmospheric chemistry is based upon this one. So if you will see the lower wavelength of the UVC, it is highly destructive in nature, but 100% of the UVC radiation will be get filtered in the atmosphere, that is in the troposphere itself, because ozone is present. So that is why entire UVC radiation will be get absorbed and then filtered in the stratospheric region. So that is why the ozone which is present in the stratosphere, we can call it as a good ozone. And UVB radiation, it is a medium wavelength. Definitely it will, part of the UVB radiation will definitely reaches the earth surface, and UVA radiation 100% it will reaches to the earth atmosphere. But it is a relatively it is a longest wavelength, and approximately 95% it reaches the earth's surface, and it is capable of penetrate into the skin, causes the immediate tanning. And also UVB radiation is also causing the delayed tanning, burning as well as the skin cancer. If we will see the atmosphere as being absorbed by the living tissues on earth, UV light causes the damage to the DNA. So that means the molecules which are present in the protein as well as the present on the surface of the human beings. And that is why we can call it as the stratospheric ozone is a good ozone and the tropospheric ozone is a bad ozone. If we will look into the other slide, that is the how these ozone is released into the atmosphere. What type of the chemical reactions occur in the troposphere? If we will see the nitrogen, that is the especially the oxides of nitrogen, and because of the fossil fuel burning as well as the VOCs, that is a volatile organic compounds, and all these causes the, what we have already seen, that all these causes the release of the ozone which is directly into the atmosphere as a byproduct. So we can consider ozone as a secondary pollutant in the tropospheric region. If we will look into the other formation of the ozone, so that is where there is an occur in the equation, that is the increase in the fossil fuel burning as well as the more the automobiles exhaust, and also the some of the industries, the industries effluents, we can say that these will release the ozone, more ozone. That means more of these increasing in the population and more of the automobiles, more of the anthropogenic activities which releases the more of the ozone. So there is a release of more ozone in the troposphere when comparative to the stratosphere, because stratosphere there is a natural balance between the formation as well as the destruction of the ozone. If we will look into this one, some other volatile organic compounds we have given in the slide, that there are number of volatile organic compounds which can be done, that is the significant amount of volatile organic compounds. Maybe it is not only the anthropogenic activities, and also because of the plants, because of the gasoline pumps, because of the oil-based paints. So all these industries as well as the pharmaceutical industries which releases the ozone as a byproduct. So that is why it is a destruction as well as the bad ozone in the tropospheric region. So if we will consider the tropospheric or the ground level ozone, so what we have discussed that along with these industrial emissions, along with the anthropogenic chemicals, the formation of the photochemical reaction naturally occurring in the atmosphere. So that means once the volatile organic compounds or the oxides of the nitrogen, once they will release into the atmosphere, they will stable in the atmosphere for a longer duration. And these VOCs as well as the nitric oxides, nitrogen oxides, they will react with the sunlight and split into the nitric oxide as well as the oxygen free radical again. So that means they are photodissociation reactions or photochemical reactions which occur in the atmosphere with these VOCs as well as the NO nitric oxides. And also this type of ozone as a byproduct, it will gives a photochemical haze. So that will call it as normally photochemical smog. So now what is the exactly photochemical smog? How the reactions occur in this one? If you will look into the slide that the nitrogen oxides, that is oxides especially we are calling it as, because they are highly active species for the photochemical dissociation. So once the nitrogen oxides absorb the energy photochemically, and also they will form a free radical because it contains an unpaired electrons. So when one molecule of nitrogen absorbs a photon of light with energy, the molecule is normally raised to a higher energy level, and also it becomes an electronically excited molecule. So the excited molecule, again what it will do, it will quickly re-emit the photon of light or the energy, and that will break into nitric oxide bond to form a nitrogen monoxide as well as the molecule and the oxygen atom. So now both NO as well as the oxygen are the free radicals. So they have one or more unpaired electrons because of the chemistry is concerned. So again what it will do, in which each molecule absorbs ultraviolet photon and produces two free radicals again, and molecular oxygen that can photodissociate into two oxygen atoms. So this photodissociation of this oxygen molecule into oxygen atoms, again it will react back with the oxygen molecule and it will form the ozone. So this is one example I would like to give. It is naturally occurring, regularly occurring in the general atmosphere. Now we will see that depletion. Once it is formed the ozone, now how it will deplete in the stratospheric ozone. If we will look into that, the ozone depletion chemicals or the ozone depletion mechanism, so once these VOCs will generate in the very first step, it will be stable in the atmosphere, and then these CFCs are the volatile organic compounds, that is the CFCs, that is chlorofluorocarbons. This react with the sunlight and it will breaks into smaller simpler substances like chlorine atom or the bromine atom. So once chlorine or the bromine atom reacts with the ozone, and again they have a potential to destroy the ozone, and then more reactions simultaneously will happen, so more ozone depletion will takes place. This is a pictorial diagram. If we will look into the another diagram, how the destruction of ozone by the chlorine. So again the same we have given another way of a depiction, that the stratosphere, that is once it is reaches to the stratosphere by the solar radiation, that yields an atomic oxygen, and then it will combines with the molecular oxygen to produce ozone. Again these CFCs are the volatile organic compounds, again it reacts with the sunlight, again it will destroy the ozone. So now we will see that how the depletion causes the formation, natural balance, how it will form. If we will see the entire chart of this one, so first it is looks like this is a accumulation, that means releases of the ozone molecules into the CFCs molecules into the atmosphere because of this generation of this one from the industries, and also emission, that again the second step is the accumulation. So the halogen gases, they will accumulate. Once they are accumulated, they will not dissociate easily. That means almost 50 to 150 years they will stable in the atmosphere, in the troposphere itself. Then again it is a transboundary in nature, so definitely along with the wind speed it will move from one place to the other. It is a transboundary. So whenever there is a ozone formation or otherwise, if recovery of ozone is concerned, we are not supposed to think or the focus at the regional level, because it is a transboundary in nature. We have to think about the global scale itself. Then in afterwards, then it will come to a conversion into the chemical reaction, and from that chemical reaction we have to think about the removal. So then all these chemicals, once it is accumulated, the consequences of this ozone accumulation is a photochemical smog, what we have discussed, and also the chemical reactions I have given about the photochemical smog, the same reactions what we have discussed previously. Here the new thing, that is only the para-acetyl nitrate. And if you will see the greenhouse gas emission by source, so methane is 17% and nitrous oxide is 6% and fluorinated gases is 2% and majority is, that is the carbon dioxide. If we will consider the ozone depleting substances, what we have already discussed, that is the chlorofluorocarbons or the hydrochlorofluorocarbons which are emitted from the aerosol products, and halogens are from the fire protection agents, and methyl bromide is from the pesticide as well as the fire extinguishing agent, and carbon tetrachloride is a solvent, and also brominated hydrocarbons. So all these are emitted from the regular source of chemicals. So now if we will consider the ozone as well as the CFCs, yes, there are the alternatives for the chlorofluorocarbons. They are the hydrofluorocarbons. These are the other alternative for the these harmful chlorofluorocarbons. And if we will look into the pictures, these are the fridges which are manufactured before 1995. So that means they have the CFCs as a refrigerants, but nowadays they are modified with the hydrofluorocarbons. And this is the most important, as well as the effect of ozone in the as a greenhouse gas, as well as we are connecting this ozone into the climate change. So we know that if you will look into the slide, that the energy that heats the earth comes from the sun as an electromagnetic radiation, and some portion of the electromagnetic radiation from the sun is reflected by the atmosphere back into the space, and some is absorbed by the atmosphere. So whatever it is a reminder that reaches the earth, warming its surface and also oceans, so these warmed surfaces then radiate this energy into the troposphere as an infrared radiation. So the carbon dioxide, water vapor, methane and ozone all absorb this radiation in various portions of the infrared region. So by absorbing the re-radiated energy, they warm the entire atmosphere, that creating what we are call it as a greenhouse effect. Of course, greenhouse effect, once it is greenhouse effect is there, obviously it will have an indirect effect on the climate change. So this is all about this one, ma'am.
Thank you, Professor Rupini. So now we'll come on to the causes of the, after the causes, we see the effects that the ozone depletion can have on the earth and also on the ecosystem, on the living beings. So this can be a catastrophe and it can have disastrous effects. So ma'am already explained that we have the UVA, B and C, and UVB are the most damaging to the ecosystems, to the biological systems, and they also have very disastrous effects on the animals, on the plants and on the various ecosystems. So now when we talk about the effects on the plants, ozone itself is an oxidizing agent, and that can damage the oxidizing the plant tissue, especially the stomata and the leaf pore openings that are found on the leaf surfaces. And then it can also be influenced by these leaf surfaces can also be influenced by the UVB radiations. So therefore the plants will not be able to survive for a long-term period. Then the effects on the plants are, it can also have their effects on the forest and also on the grasslands, as it can cause changes in the species composition, in the changing biodiversity, in the various habitats. And the UVB can also have indirect effect on the plant community, and it can have a lot of morphological changes and alterations in the plant shape, in the secondary metabolism, and the plant competitive balance. Certain plant diseases and biogeochemical cycles will also be affected. Specifically, the plant DNA damage has also been observed, and there can be shorter stems with more branching which is observed, and the negative effects are on the plant reproduction system, on the pollen production, on the seed germination pattern, on the blooming patterns, and the seed size, etc. On the marine ecosystems, here again, if you see, the sea provides more than 30% of the food for the animal protein for the human consumption. So when these ecosystems are be damaged by the UVB radiation, then the single-celled organisms like the phytoplankton, which make up the base of the entire marine ecosystem, they can be affected, and it has been reported by researchers that there is 6 to 12% decline in the phytoplankton growth rate and the productivity in the marginal ice zone, all affected by the UVB radiations that are striking these systems. Then again, they can harm the shrimp population, the crabs, other aquatic organisms, then the amphibians, all in their larval development, that is in the early stages of their life. The consequences could be reduced reproductive capability and also poor larval development. Then we find that the planktonic sea life, this accounts for more than half of the Earth's biomass. So a major loss would be disastrous, again, if the detrimental impact on the global marine food supplies will also be impacted due to these radiations which are reaching the Earth. So what are the effects on the human health? Human health, again, it is important that two properties are of interest to the human health. One is the ozone layer. It is absorbing the UV light, and there are three types of these UV, which is filtering out the very harmful radiations. And but again, the human beings can also be exposed to the harmful UVB radiations, which can cause skin, eye, cataracts, and skin cancers, and so on. Now, when inhaled directly, maybe at the ground level, then again it can cause respiratory symptoms, chest tightness, and so on. Skin cancer and cataract. So the UVB can induce the melanoma, the skin cancers, malignant melanoma, immune deficiency disorders, and also clouding of the eyelids due to cataract is also been observed. DNA damage as the nucleic acids. Here, if you see, when the UVB radiation strike the normal DNA helix pattern, then you can see there that they can disturb the lipids, the proteins, the nucleic acid, and the mutations can then lead to the basal and the squamous cell carcinomas. So these are the purines and the pyrimidines, and the cancers are occurring due to the errors that are occurring in these bases. Then respiratory symptoms are also observed, where the muscles can be constricted, the inflammation of the airways can be observed, there can be throat irritation, shortness of breath, and so on. Now, how are basically people exposed to ozone? Basically, when they breathe the ozone in the surrounding air, in the ambient air, and here again the rate of exposure and the exposure rate and also the time of the exposure determines the cumulative effects of the same. These are the vulnerable populations, for example, children and teen, people who are above 65 years and older, and those who have pre-existing conditions, and then they can have the COPD, that is a chronic obstructive pulmonary disorders and diseases, which can then bring about the problems. So there are also, we sum up with certain international treaties like the Montreal Protocol and the Kigali Amendment, which I would just like Dr. Bhaskar to summarize
These
this
are the
session.
major ones, and they mainly aim at reducing the ozone depleting substances. Kigali one is to replace the HFCs. I think learners, this is the summary of this, that common problems have to be tackled globally. All nations have to cooperate. This is the message from the success of the ozone treaty, and this is probably the only environmental treaty which has met such a great success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Bhaskar. Thank you, Professor Rupini, and I hope you have had a good understanding of the same. Thank you. Hello viewers. This MA program in Environmental and Occupational Health focuses on the relationship between people and their environment and fosters safe and healthy communities. And this is of utmost importance. This program is an MA in Environmental and Occupational Health. The type of the program is a master's program and the medium of instruction will be in English. The duration of the program will be a minimum of 2 years and a maximum of 4 years. The target group will be a graduation from any discipline. Mainly the professionals working in environmental and occupational sector and non-governmental organizations are welcome to join. Doctors, nurses, paramedical graduates and employees can join the course. Employees from the Central Pollution Control Board, civil servants of the state and central governments, faculty, researchers and students in universities, research organizations and colleges will find this program very interesting. Graduates aspiring to pursue a career in environmental management, occupational health and safety, industrial health and safety will also find this program of useful relevance. The job opportunities for this program is tremendous. They can work as environmental health and safety specialist, occupational health and safety specialist in various organizations, HSE coordinator and protection officers. They can also work as worksite wellness coordinators, public administration and safety professionals. They can also work as industrial hygienists and ergonomists in the various organizations. Then the safety and environmental health managers, toxicologists, health and safety engineering specializations are also very important. The objectives of this program include the following. They will discuss the impact of the environmental hazards on human health. Then they will describe the policies, laws, standards and the measurement techniques and applications in different occupational setups. They will also help to develop mitigation strategies to contain and manage environmental and occupational hazards for positive health. Finally, they will also help to exhibit the knowledge and skills that are needed to improve the environmental sustainability of human health systems. First year course.
Hello viewers and learners. Hope you all are doing well with your studies, and many of the learners may have appeared in this term end exam which recently happened, and those who have appeared must be waiting for results. Maybe will be some, it's already in the process of declarations. Some results has been declared also. So very soon you will get the results, those who have appeared in this term end exam. And also those students who have not appeared must be preparing themselves for the next term end exam, which will be declared and announced. So accordingly you should prepare for the courses which you want to appear, which the courses which have been maybe left out they can again appear, provided the fulfilling the all norms as per we keep on saying, discussing with you the norms. So dear learners, today we are going to discuss about this MA entrepreneurship program, and in this sessions we will discuss about the course 6 MER 006, and particularly about the choice of technology, the site selections, and another third unit is regarding the setting of a small enterprise, how to set up, what are the things. So we'll try to cover these 2 units in these sessions. those students who have already gone through these units. So I look forward to if you have any doubt question, so please send questions, ask questions through the phone numbers which have been displayed over in the screen. So that makes purpose of this such type of counselings we organize time to time. So in basically if you go through the topic of the unit itself is the selection of technology and the site. So if you have an idea as a being an entrepreneur, so certain things you should know to what are the parameters to selecting any, if you are going for manufacturing the products, or if you are going for in the service sectors. So how to make a criteria, how to do the selection process for any technology or any products you want to produce it, or you want to buy it. Sometime it's also happen कि instead of making or producing, it is a better to buy certain products and then sell. So depending upon how is the situation, what is your plan, so accordingly you can decide. So particularly with in this unit, in this sessions, we will try to cover why the products or services you are thinking for, what are the design for it, why it's so important for any organizations, and to identify and discuss the general factors involved in determining the locations of any business. Then we'll also try to cover in the sessions to how to organize and build the project of a small entrepreneurship unit. And in the last, we'll try to cover to identify to need to upgrade their vocational skills and analyze its financial implications. So coming to the technology part or selections or design of the products, that is very important for any entrepreneur or any thinker or any person who want to venture into any entrepreneurial activity. So one think for which type of products they look for. For that purpose, one has to know what are the market situations over there, scan the situations, what is needed, or what is already, if any products is there, what you can add to it. Sometimes it's not necessary, one should go for only for the new products, whatever as we keep on discussing or we telling the things that one should always go for the कोई हम नया products के लिए बारे में हम नहीं सोचें. कई बार ऐसे भी होते हैं जो products markets में हैं, चाहे जो services भी being provided by the institutions, by the service providers, there are certain we find sometime it's not appropriate, it is not fulfilling the customers. So you can accordingly you can design, you can fill those gaps over there. So important part for any design these things. So first you should and foremost is to collect the ideas. What are the ideas? Maybe the products, maybe the design services, maybe whatever you want to. So in that case, you need to collect the informations related with those ideas. Then before entering or before going for the productions or manufacturing, you need to go for the feasibility studies, whether really it is feasible or not. Means आपने कोई कल्पना किया है, सोचा है, ड्रीम किया है कोई चीज़ें को, बट उसको प्रैक्टिकली ज़मीन पे उतारने से पहले आवश्यकता है कि आप ज़रूर उसकी स्टडी करें उसके बारे में कि सोचना और करने में बहुत का गैप है. तो क्या हम सचमुच में उसको उतार सकते हैं, क्या ऐसा प्रोडक्ट पॉसिबल है या नहीं है. तो in that case, if you do such type of a study, that will help in making any type of any attempts which you are trying to make and to avoid certain types of any type of failures. So failures से आपको इस type के feasibility study if you do it, then there is a very less chances for failure. Then you should go for the market appraisals. उस products का या उस service का what is the scenario in the market, इट्स देयर इज एनी डिमांड ऑफ देयर और नॉट, कंटिन्यूटी है कि नहीं है, क्या है, कितना है मार्केट डिमांड। तो इस टाइप का यदि आप स्टडी कर लें, पहले से ही कर लें, किसी सर्विस सेक्टर्स को लॉन्च करने से पहले या कोई प्रोडक्ट्स को लाने से पहले, तो थिंग्स आपके लिए आसान हो जाएंगी। टेक्निकल अप्रेजल्स है, व्हाट एवर द प्रोडक्ट्स यू आर थिंकिंग फॉर, इट शुड बी टेक्निकली साउंड। उसकी फिजिबिलिटी स्टडी करा लेनी चाहिए आपको कि हर एस्पेक्ट्स में कस्टमर्स के नीड के हिसाब से, या टेक्निकल स्पेसिफिकेशंस कई चीज़ों में स्टैंडर्ड होते हैं, लीगल एस्पेक्ट्स होते हैं। सो उन एस्पेक्ट्स को आपका प्रोडक्ट्स जो है मीट कर रहा है कि नहीं, उन चीज़ों को, बातों को आपको ध्यान में रखना चाहिए before launching any products. Financial appraisal, financial is a very important part for any entrepreneur before entering, before launching. So उसका financial implications from what are the sources of your funding. Maybe the new entrepreneurs जो कि आते हैं, काफ़ी उत्साह होता है उनमें शुरुआत के दौर में, लेकिन जब वो ड्रीम को या जो अपने सपने को साकार करना चाहते हैं, तो इम्पॉर्टेंट आस्पेक्ट है, उस बहुत सारे उसकी इम्प्लीकेशंस है, एंड इम्पॉर्टेंट इज़ द फाइनेंशियल आस्पेक्ट्स. बहुत सारे एंटरप्रेन्योर्स दे हैव द फंडिंग from their own sources, but there are provisions from funding from the others. Institutional fundings are there, resources hai. So before launching any products or services, जो भी आप लाने से पहले आप उसका financial implications देख लें, तो things will be better for to move forward. The other aspects for the technology aspects को determine करने के लिए या उसके aspects पहलुओं को देखने के लिए ज़रूरत है, if you are thinking for any if you have decided to go for the manufacturing, तो उसकी आवश्यकताएं, उसकी ज़रूरतें, it will be different from the service sectors. For suppose if you want to produce something, then you need to see where you want to establish the plant, what will be locations for it, for that plant, how far is the resources, particularly important is the labor का, raw materials का, plant की capabilities क्या हो सकती हैं, उसकी economic advantages क्या हो सकते हैं, suppliers की reliability, how much, if you are depending upon suppliers, how much, what is the continuous reliability of getting the supply from the suppliers. Trade relations, sometimes some products are related with the other trades, so in that case you have to see what are the suppose if you are producing or manufacturing and you have to depend upon the distributors or something like that, in that case you have to see how is the trade relations in that situation or that ecosystems. Employment stabilization is a very important aspect for any product or any service sectors. So how because unless until you have a regular flow or regular stabilizations of employment scenario is very stable, then things you are planning to produce will be in a very continuous process, and it will be without any hampering, without any breaking in the supply, things can be produced in the normal way. Trade union views is also very important for any manufacturing unit or any in the service sectors also. You have to keep in mind the welfare parts of the those of the persons working in your factory or firms or industries. So these aspects you need to keep in mind while deciding the or evaluating the products or this equipments selections. That's also very important part for in these things. These are the technological feasibilities, labor and skill requirements, raw materials requirements, flexibility and maintainability. Whatever the products you are want to produce or the service sectors में आप जिस क्षेत्र में, whether it is a health sectors or हॉस्पिटल्स का है या स्कूल में है, जो भी सर्विस प्रोवाइड करना चाहते हैं, तो उस सेक्टर्स में उसको आप मेंटेन कर सकें, जो भी क्वालिटी है, स्टैंडर्ड्स है, तो उन चीज़ों को भी आपको ध्यान में रख के करना चाहिए. There are certain institutions, as in the beginning I have told you, that any prototype आप बनाना चाह रहे हैं या मैन्युफैक्चर करना चाह रहे हैं, so before entering, before bringing it on the ground, there are certain institutions, certain industries, certain research institutes are there which can help you in the designing and development of any products, like National Research and Development Corporation. It is under the CSIR, Council for Scientific and Industrial Research के अंदर में है, which will help you in the design and development of any products. If you want to manufacture or if you want to produce certain things, that will help you. Certain private research laboratories are also there, which is recognized by the CSIR, which will help you in designing the products. Individual experience, you can also take help from the persons, successful entrepreneurs will also help you in identifying the products and these things. There are the some of the list of there are the institutions which can help you in the is the Industrial Research Laboratories, Central Institutes of Plastic Engineering, and Prototype Training Centers of Small Industries. So these industries based laboratories जो हैं, research laboratories, are across the countries. So anywhere in any part of India, if you are planning, you are thinking to produce certain things, it is better to get your products or your ideas. You can go over there, and these institutes can help you in testing the things, in designing the things before going for the real productions systems or in the actual way. As we have discussed, manpower is a very important segment. Many things depend upon it. Manpower, in simple way, it is in the raw form, it is nothing, no use of it. But once it is a trained, what we call, we speak now these as the skilled manpower. So once they are trained in their trade or in their sectors, they become a capital. That then we call it as a human resource or human capital. So you should have a trained manpower to make the things easy and to meet the target, to meet the goals, whatever you have set for the certain at the timeline which you have set for any products. And for the training of such type of manpower, there are several institutes are there other than vocational and training institutes are there. Certain institutes are also there which are designated for the entrepreneurship development, like NISBD is there, National Institute for Entrepreneurship Small Business Development, Indian Institute of Entrepreneurships, NIE, MSME, National Institute of MSME is there, and NSIC is there. It's a very famous institutes which have expertise in the industrial training aspect. So if you are looking for, if you are dreaming, or if you are thinking for any entrepreneurial venture, so you can go for such type of training so that you can have exposures before going for the productions or manufacturing. So important part, once suppose you have decided, you have make your mind, yes, हमें जाना है, हमें ये produce बनाना, you have idea, you have consulted, you have brought everything on the paper, yes, you can do it. So important part is that for selection of site. If you are going for manufacturing things, so you need to have these things in your mind, that personal factors means economics factors are there, competitions, how will be the competitions in the market, so that also depend upon the site. Geographical considerations also you should keep in mind, local laws and regulations. These are the aspects you should keep in mind while selecting your site or for the manufacturing, or if you are even if you are thinking for the even for the service sectors also, these aspects will help you, and this will it has implications on your products as well as your services which you are looking for. Because if you have these things in mind before going to the plants or before manufacturing it, if you keep these things into mind, so it will help you in your profitability as well as the continuity, and will be very less chance for the failures also. These are the there are the certain aspects like region, country also play very important role in the factors like locations of raw materials. Suppose your raw materials are very far from your sites, then again it will cost you more. So proximity and transportations, it matters a lot. So it is better to, if you and that also depend upon what are the volumes you are want to produce, and where is the market, is also how far is it, and where is the raw materials, is how far it from your manufacturing or from your sites. So these things you have to keep in mind. Community and facilities, how are there, wherever your plant is there, or wherever your service unit is there. So how facilities is there in proximity, means how is the utilities facilities are available in near and around to your manufacturing unit. The other important thing is the how close by is the school, churches, shopping complex, whether it is there or not. In the site is the important part is the land. Sometimes cost of land and the clearance from the environment clearance, this play also very important role in selection of site. Then of course it's important how costly, how much it is going to cost, of the price of the land, as well as the soil. Sometime if I'm not gone through the soil testing, certain in between in the process of manufacturing, it creates sometimes problems. So those things you have to keep in mind while selection of the sites. Now, as we were discussing in the beginning, that we will try to cover the second unit is for the setting of small enterprises. So these are the steps one should follow for setting of small enterprises. One should have collect the informations of your ideas you are thinking for. Organize those informations in a manner so that it can be executed in a way which you are looking for. Then you should think for some time, if you go for the same skills, the demand will be less. For examples, if you there is a one lady who stitches the clothes in there at the, हमने देखा भी है communities में, villages में और rural setup, even urban areas में कुछ महिलाएं अपने घर पे ही अपने, and they have the hunar, the quality, the skills, the compatible they are having. So with those skills one start the एक अपना stitching करना women ड्रेस का, और करने लगती हैं घर पे ही अपने छोटे से एक रूम में सेटअप करके. बट आफ्टर सम टाइम once she find that की demand is there, customers are coming, then she start in a formal way, एक अपना रूम लेके वो अपना सिलाई मशीन के साथ वो अपना सिलाई करती हैं. लेकिन what happens, what she is doing, she is stitching in the same way, same patterns में, without any innovations, any creations, no new things are coming. So all of a sudden she finds कि उसकी demand में all of a sudden it's going down. So what she needs to upgrade her skills. So what is the latest trend? What is happening in and around? What is the market is there? So one should always upgrade the vocational skills. Then only one can sustain in their market to keep their products viable. Financial implications, as we have discussed earlier, one should have a very sound support, financial support to continue their products, their services, what they are doing. Market trends. Market trends is very important things. If unless until you know how will be the markets in futures, what is going to happen, accordingly you can change the styles, the products, then only you can sustain. And in the last is the very important is the any entrepreneur should be should be equipped with the familiar with the crisis management. आपको जब तक everything if it's going well, it's good, but certain things happens without knowing, without any information, situations, maybe the economic situations or environmental factors are there. So you should know how to, you should be well equipped to how to handle those crisis situations. Maybe manpower ka supply kam ho gaya, or all of sudden situations, certain policies are there, certain government policies are there, or certain markets player are there, which can affect your production chain, manufacturing chain. So you should be always ready for such type of situation when it arises, to how to handle those situations, how to cope up with these situations. Then important is you should also analyze you should have an analysis for the small business. How to analyze these things is to have you should be a good planner, and also you should have to know how to organize the manpower in a way which were so that everything should be in place and produce in time, without any loss, and without your customer base also. You should also have assistance, like you should have associations, you should have skills for mentoring the peoples. You should know how to network the things, right from raw material to the final products. And in the last, very important is the market research. You should keep on doing all the time what is the trend is happening. Then only you can be in the market, and you can produce the things as per the demand and the customer needs and things, and you need to make the changes accordingly. So in this way, we have tried to cover in these sessions to how to identify the sites, how to choose, how to select the technology for any products or any services sectors, and overall you see how to set any small business enterprise, what are the factors one should think to take into consideration before setting off of any idea. Thinking of having an idea is a good, but to make this idea in the real situations, you should be well equipped with the certain capabilities, certain competencies. Then only you can become a successful entrepreneur. So hope the learners have take something, knowledge, informations for better understanding. Thank you very much.
We wear clothes on a daily basis, but have we ever wondered, where do our clothes come from? Who makes our clothing? And who are the people and the process responsible for the whole manufacturing of our clothing? If you want to know more about this, Indira Gandhi National Open University from the School of Continuing Education has launched a program which is Certificate in Apparel Merchandising. There are many benefits after doing this program. You can become a designer in various fields. It can be fashion designer, apparel designer, costume designer, or even a textile designer. One can also work as a fashion consultant. Research and development is another field which one can take up after doing this certificate course. Going into academics is another perk after doing this program. Getting into fashion houses or fashion studios as an intern is also a very good option post doing the certificate in apparel merchandising. The basic eligibility of the program is 10+2. The duration of the program is 6 months to 2 years. The program is also available for both the admission cycles, which is July and January. The exams are conducted twice a year, in June and December. So what are you waiting for? Join this program and get an enriching knowledge in the field of apparel merchandising. And to do so, you can log on to the official website of the university, www.ignou.ac.in.
Welcome learners to today's session of Gyan Darshan. Today we will be speaking on a very important topic, a very important life skill, that is public speaking. We have with us our expert Dr. Grace Don Nimching from the School of Extension and Development Studies. So let us start right away. Dr. Grace, what is public speaking and is it really a life skill?
Dr. Nisha, when we are talking about speaking means speaking in front of an audience. And the audience can be people you know or people you don't know. It could be in front of strangers. So when we are talking about public speaking, it means having an audience. For example, right now, I am in a form of public speaking because I'm speaking in front of you. I'm also speaking in front of the camera men and also a lot of other technical experts who are in the studio. So this is a form of public speaking. So public speaking is speaking in front of an audience, and definitely it is a life skill, because when we talk about life skill are skills which enhances our productivity. Life skills are skills which gives us an awareness of our surrounding, which makes you more productive. And also when we are talking about public speaking, it is a kind of face-to-face speaking between individual and audience for the purpose of communication. And when you are able to speak with people with confidence and clarity, it means that you have a good public speaking skill. Today's topic, for example, is the art of public speaking. Public speaking, जो सार्वजनिक बोल है, it is a kala, it is an art. You need to develop this skill, because this skill as a life skill will enhance your relationship with others, will help you to communicate better, and also it will also help to build what is called confidence. And it is very important that public speaking, each and everyone inculcates this form of public speaking, because in our day-to-day life there are so many instances when we need to publicly speak to people. So this is what is called by public speaking, and it is definitely a life skill. And a very important person, John Dolman, in his handbook of public speaking, has said that public speaking is not something which is a conventionalized imitation of life, but life itself, a natural function of life, a real human being in a real communication with neighbors, and the best is when it is the most realistic. So when we are talking about public speaking, it is speaking with people as a human being, because people are listening to you and you are speaking to those people, and you have to communicate something which is real. You have to communicate your ideas, you have to communicate your thoughts. So this is what is called by public speaking, and it is a life skill.
Thank you, Dr. Grace, for explaining with clarity what is public speaking. Now coming to the next question, that is, what is the need or what is the importance of public speaking, especially in today's times?
Public speaking is very important, and there is a need to cultivate the art of public speaking. Like I mentioned before, it is a life skill, and life skill helps you, it helps you to have better relationship with others, and also it enhances your skills. So when we are talking about the need and importance of public speaking, it is of crucial importance in building our place in society, our career, also for successful sales if you are in business, and also to have a better family relations. And it is believed that in today's era, in today's society, the majority of the jobs today involve some form of public speaking. In this modern era, in this technological era, when we are talking about the economic shift from manufacturing to service sector, there has been a major increase in the need for communicating with others. We have top CEOs of industries who advise that if you cultivate, if you build the art of public speaking effectively, then you will be able to communicate your ideas effectively. You will be able to persuade, you will be able to build, support, negotiate, and speak effectively in public. And like I said, there has been an economic shift from your service sector to your manufacturing sector to the present service sector. And in our society today, in our economy today, we have the majority of the GDP, the percentage of the contribution of the service sector, the percentage is enormous. It is almost or more than 50% of the GDP, which is contributed by the service sector. Service sector, like your hospitality, your healthcare, your tourism, your insurance, education, all these are part of service sector. And when you have a shift from your manufacturing sector and now to the service sector, a lot of importance have been placed on your communication skills, your public skill, because all these jobs in this area, that is the service sector, involves a lot of public speaking. So if you enhance your public speaking, if you cultivate your public speaking, then you would be more productive, then you would have better sales in business, and also you will be able to communicate effectively. For example, if you are an industrialist, if you are a supervisor of a company, then you will be able to put across your ideas to your workers. You would be able to encourage your workers to be more productive, and so on and so forth. So this is why you need public speaking skill, which will make you an effective leader.
Thank you, Dr. Grace, for that. Indeed, public speaking is very important, as you rightly said, especially in the service sector, as the service sector is catching up in the economy with its increasing share to the GDP.
Right.
So definitely all the different sectors or all the different industries that come under the service sector, they definitely need good public speakers. They need
Right.
people who can interact and communicate on a daily basis. So I think that is probably the reason why we have so many public and private coaching institutes which train people in
Right.
public speaking.
Right.
So having known the need and importance of public speaking in today's era, would you elaborate on what are the different types of public speech?
When we are talking about the types of public speech, there are many types of public speech. Let me briefly discuss them one by one. The first public speech that I'll talk about is what is called informative speech. Informative speeches are meant to teach or instruct an audience, providing objective information about something. So this is just a speech wherein you as a speaker inform the audience about certain things. For example, you may be informing the audience about if election is going to be held, where you can make your if you do not have your voters ID, then it is time to make your voters ID, and so on and so forth. Or it could be an informative speech in terms of, let's say, for vaccination, you inform the audience. So this is one form of speech, public speech, which is called informative speech, wherein you inform the audience about a certain pertinent issue, just communicating to them an information. Then you have another form of public speech, which is called action speech. What is action speech? Characteristic of this type of speech, that is action speech, are that it is usually much more energetic speech, followed by direct gestures, heightened tone by which you directly encourage your listeners to do something or take decision instantly. So when we are talking about action speech, a lot of gesture is involved. For example, what I'm doing right now is a form of action speech because I'm using a lot of gesture, and I am trying to explain to the learners, to the viewers, what is the art of public speaking and what are the types of public speech. So this is a form of action speech wherein I'm using a lot of gestures. I'm trying to explain to them, and also I am trying to be energetic or in a way I am energetic in explaining them about the art of public speaking. Then we have another type of speech which is called persuasive speech. Here the speaker constructs an effectual persuasive message with credible evidence and sound reasoning. An advanced speaker articulates the problem and solution in a clear, compelling manner. So in this type of speech, you are trying to persuade the audience about a certain issue, or you are trying to put relay some messages and ideas and thoughts to the audience about certain issue, and trying to persuade them to follow whatever you are talking about by giving them certain credible evidence, trying to prove to them that whatever you are saying has solid evidence. That is why what you are saying is something which is very important, and they would so that they can believe what you are saying. So you are trying to persuade in this type of speech, which is persuasive speech, wherein you are trying to persuade the audience with credible evidence and sound reasoning in a compelling manner that there is certain issue that is pertinent, and that you are trying to relay certain messages with certain evidence. Then we have another form of speech which is called commemorative speech. What are commemorative speech? At times, in certain functions like an award function, or when during a funeral ceremony, or during exhibition or inauguration of certain photo exhibition, you have a person, or you have persons talking about the particular event. Like for example, let's say you are in an award function, and the commemorative speech would be talking about the person who is going to be given an award, why that person is receiving the award, and why is the person receiving that award, in which field. And also in a commemorative speech in terms of during a funeral service, you offer eulogy. You talk about the departed person, you talk about his or her life. There are certain events in his or her life that you would like to mention, and also how touched you were by his or her life. So this is a kind of speech wherein you commemorate the person whom you're talking about. So it could be in the form of an eulogy during the funeral service, it could be in the form of a speech during an award ceremony, or during the opening of a photo exhibition, and so on and so forth. So commemorative speech in terms of talking about the person specifically. Then there is another form of speech which is called improvised speech. From the word itself, you would come to know, Dr. Nisha, is how you improvise according to the situation. When we are talking about improvised speech, it is an unexpected speech when you are given no warning or time to prepare your speech. This is essentially very rare. It does not happen all the time, but sometimes, given an unexpected circumstances, you may be suddenly asked to speak on a particular issue or address the audience. And regardless of how often it is rare, it does takes place in certain, a lot of persons' lives. And it can happen that during certain situations wherein you are not prepared, such an occasion will come where you have to improvise, or you have to speak spontaneously without having prepared anything. For example, it could be a farewell speech, wherein you are suddenly asked to speak on the particular person, but you have not prepared, but then you have to improvise your speech according to the situation, and you have to talk about that particular person. You have not been warned before that you have to be speaking about that person. So this is what is called improvised speech, wherein you adapt your speech, you try to convey messages and ideas according to the situation which has been given to you, in spite of not preparing preparing for it. So this is called improvised speech.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Grace, for that list of different types of public speeches that you have enlisted. Definitely, each of them is driven by a different purpose and a
Right.
different target group. So it was really nice knowing about all these different types of speeches. Could you tell us what are the tools for effective public speaking?
There are quite a few tools of effective public speaking. How do you make public speaking more effective? How do you cultivate the art of public speaking? Tools in terms of, when we say tool, it is called Ozar. How do you use these tools to make public speaking more effective? One of the most important tool of effective public speaking is voice. Voices are important things for humans. They are the medium through which we do a lot of communicating with the outside world. Our ideas, of course, and also our emotions and our personality. The voice is the very emblem of the speaker, indelibly woven into the fabric of speech. So right now, at present, I am talking about this topic, which is art of public speaking, and I am speaking through the medium of voice, where I'm trying to convey this particular topic for today. So voice is very important. It is a medium by which you communicate to the outside the audience, and also you're also able to convey your emotions, your thoughts, and also through your voice people come to know whether what type of emotions you are currently in. Are you excited? Are you sad? Are you depressed? And so many type of emotion can be seen from the way you use your voice. Then another very important tool of effective public speaking is tone. This is the most marked quality of a person's voice, which is his tone. The tone should be clear and agreeable. High, forced, strident tones produce not only irritation in the listener, but also it provides a lot of throat trouble for the speaker. So my tone should be soothing and calm. For example, if I raise my tone to very high speech, it would be high pitch. It would be very irritating for you. It would be very irritating for the viewers and the learners listening to this particular session. So my tone has to be very calm, and it has to be in such a way that it is attractive. My tone should not be irritating. It should be calm. Then we have another tool, which is a very important tool in public speaking, which is you start your public speaking with an impact. When you are to start public speaking, it is always, there is no hard and fast rule that you have to use certain unexpected or innovative openings to grab the audience attention right from the start. But it is very important that if you start with an impact, it will ensure that the audience attention will be there in your presentation, the rest of your presentation, with anticipation and curiosity. You know how to start a public speaking effectively with an impact is that you may just ask the audience a thought-provoking question, or you may conduct certain ice-breaking game or so. Like for example, if I'm a public speaker and I have to address an audience, then I would, let's say, to engage the audience, to break the ice, I would say, how many of your names start with an N, or how many of your names start with a G? So a lot of audience whose name starts with an N and a G would raise their hand. So this is how you start with an impact, and you engage the audience immediately before you start your public speaking. So this is how you start with an impact. Very, very important tool is an effective introduction. in the beginning, you had introduced me as Dr. Grace Don Namching from School of Extension and Development Studies, which was a very effective introduction, because when you are a public speaker who has to speak on a particular topic, you are going there as a person who has certain expertise in that area, or you're going there as a resource person. So a lot of audience may not know you, a lot of audience may be strangers to you, so it is very important that there is an introduction which is given by the host about the speaker, because when you are able to give an effective introduction of the speaker, then there is some kind of a familiarity that the audience will have with the speaker. So it is very important to give an effective introduction, and also effective introduction in terms of in terms of when you are giving an introduction, it is very important to mention what the topic you are going to speak about, and why is the topic important to the speaker. So these are all ways of effective introduction. Then also another very important tool is pause. When you speak, to pause in between is an important instrument in the hands of a trained speaker, because it arouse and maintain thrill. It is a very important tool to take a pause. It is a very important tool for effective public speaking, because when you take a pause, it means that you're giving time for the audience to grasp the ideas or the thoughts that you are trying to put across. And also pause in a way, it means that when you pause, it gives the speaker also the time to reflect, and also think about the next issue which she or he is going to talk about. And also pause, when you pause, it also arouses the audience interest, because the audience wouldn't know what is coming next. It is always good to, they may not know what is coming next, like I am talking to you, then I give a pause. So there is a certain element of surprise which is involved in a pause. Then another pause ke baad, there is another very important tool, which is poise. Poise means when a speaker stands before an audience to address its members, he should be perfectly at ease. Physical ease will produce an effect upon the listeners, and mental ease will induce confidence in the delivery. Pose and poise should be perfectly balanced with each other. The body should be erect but not stiff, and the muscles should be relaxed. So poise is very important, because the audience will come to know whether the speaker is confident, if the speaker is at ease. If I keep rubbing my nose while speaking, or if I keep rubbing my face, it does not look very good. It does not look it does not look that I'm confident, or I am not confident about the topic that I'm going to talk about. So it is always important that the speaker should be the way he or she stand or speak while during public speaking, the poise should be erect, should be relaxed. If I am in a position to give a speech in a relaxed, in a very effective manner, then poise is also very important. Then gesture, like I said, gesture is also important, because when you are trying to emphasize on a particular topic, then you are expressing the topic with gestures. Like I'm talking to you, and I'm trying to relay my ideas and thoughts by using these gestures. And also it is very important that the speaker should have content. if you are going to talk about a certain topic, please have a valuable content. You should have enough valuable input so that your ideas can come across correctly and properly. And also, a speaker, the public speaker, should have effective conclusion. The conclusion should be such that the speaker is able to conclude the issue that he or she is talking about, and is also able to summarize what the speaker once he or she has just talked about. And the effective conclusion will also make a lasting impression on the audience. So these are the various tools of effective public speaking.
Thank you, Dr. Grace, for elaborating on the tools of effective public speaking, from an effective introduction to an effective conclusion, and everything that goes in between, from poise to tone and tenor, voice, and the pause. You have rightly pointed out all the important effective tools that are needed for an effective public speaking. Thank you so much, Dr. Grace, for being with us and talking about the art of public speaking, especially what is public speaking, what is the importance, and why public speaking is the need of the hour, what are the different types of public speaking, and the tools for effective public speaking. I am sure our learners would have benefited a lot from today's discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nisha. And that was an effective conclusion.
Thank you.
In the current global economy and digital era, learn or perish is the order of the day for all adults in all sectors of life. As a result, adult education and lifelong learning have assumed great significance. IGNOU as a national university has played its role by way of coming up with the Master of Arts in Adult Education program, MAAE.
MAAE program focuses on different aspects of theory and practice, policies and programs, as well as research, among other things related to adult education.
MAE is a 2-year modular program with multiple entry and exit options. Students who complete first year of the program will be awarded with the postgraduate diploma in adult education. In case they want to continue, they will complete the second year program and they will be awarded with the Master of Arts in adult education.
MAE program consists of 10 courses, 5 courses in each year, 8 theory courses, 6 credits worth, and 1 practical course of 10 credits in the first year, and 1 dissertation course of 10 credits in the second year.
Practical course of MAAE is divided into 3 components, namely community-based practical activities, workshop-based practical activities, and adult education training center or institution-based practical activities. And the student has to complete all the 3 components for completion of this practical course.
The minimum qualification required for admission to this program is bachelor's degree from any recognized university. The minimum duration is 2 years and the maximum duration is 4 years.
Instructional system follows multimedia approach. The major medium of instruction is self-learning print materials, which is supplemented by other media such as audio video programs, broadcasting, that is interactive radio counseling, teleconferencing, personal contact programs or counseling sessions at the study centers, workshops and field work, as well as internship at the institutional level.
Those who seek out a master's degree in adult education have a myriad of career and specialization options.
माँ की ममता, माँ का प्यार ना मिलता बाहर ना मिलता बाजार। माँ ममता की देवी है, माँ दुनिया में सबसे अनोखी भी है। जिसने ना देखा माँ के प्यार को, वो क्या जाने ममता की सार को। यानी कि आज हम चर्चा करने वाले हैं माँ की ही एक कहानी पर। जी हाँ, आज मैं आपके सामने लेकर आई हूँ भीष्म साहनी की कहानी, चीफ की दावत। चीफ और उसके बाद दावत। जी हाँ, सामान्यतः चीफ का मतलब क्या होता है? बॉस, मालिक, या फिर एक बड़ा जो अधिकारी जिसको हम बुलाते हैं, आमंत्रित करते हैं अपने घर पर। भीष्म साहनी की अगर हम बात करते हैं तो भीष्म साहनी जिस समय के कहानीकार हैं, उस समय में जो है बहुत सी चीज़ें चली हुई थी। उदाहरण के लिए उस समय बातें की जाती थी कल्पनाओं की, उस समय बातें की जाती थी समाज की, जो है सामाजिक जो है समस्याओं की, प्रेम की, और जो है यथार्थ की। भीष्म साहनी एक इसी प्रकार के एक लेखक हैं जो मुख्य धारा से थोड़ा हट कर जो है लिखते हैं। उनको जो है प्रगतिशील और यथार्थवादी लेखक कहा जाता है। भीष्म साहनी ने जब यह कहानी लिखी, उस समय का जो परिवेश है वह और आज का परिवेश ज़्यादा बदला नहीं है। कहानी जब शुरू होती है तो शुरू होती है एक ऐसे माहौल से जहाँ पर आज का एक शिक्षित प्रबुद्ध नौकरी पेशा व्यक्ति, जिसे माँ ने पढ़ाया है, लिखाया है, और जो है उस घर में वो आलीशान घर में जो है रह रहा है, और चाहता क्या है। जी हाँ, उसकी चाहत, उसके भाव, और वर्तमान समय में जो समाज की जो समस्याएं हैं, वर्तमान समय में जो संवेदनहीनता है, उसका वर्णन इस कहानी में जो है भीष्म साहनी ने किया है। बात करते हैं जब हम माँ की, तो आँखों से आंसू बहने लगते हैं, और माँ को ममता की देवी के रूप में पूजा जाता है, और माँ के बारे में अनेकों कहानी, उपन्यास, नाटक और जो है फिल्में आपने देखी होंगी। भारतीय समाज में जो है माँ से बड़ा दर्जा किसी का नहीं माना जाता है। आज भी जो है हमारे समाज में जो है सबसे आदरणीय और पूजनीय स्त्री का जो रूप जिसकी वंदना की जाती है, वह माँ का ही रूप होता है। और भीष्म साहनी ने इस कहानी में माँ के ही रूप का जो है वर्णन किया है। तो कहानी, आइए आपको लेके चलती हूँ मैं कहानी के एक पहले पक्ष में, एक एक परत दर परत हम कहानी में जाएंगे, और इस कहानी के माध्यम से पूरे भारतीय समाज की जो आधुनिक जो विडंबना है उसको हम देखेंगे। आप मेरे साथ रहने वाले हैं एक ऐसे समय में जो आपको जो है एक ऐसी धारा में बहा के ले जाएगा कि आप सोचने पर मजबूर होंगे। शुरुआत होती है फटाफट इधर उधर के कामों से। जो है श्यामनाथ जो है वो अपनी बीवी से कह रहे हैं कि बॉस आने वाले हैं, आज चीफ की जो है घर पर दावत है, और बॉस जो है वो आने वाले हैं कितने बजे। समय लगभग जो है रहेगा 7:30 बजे के आसपास मेहमान आने शुरू होंगे, और पार्टी चलेगी लंबी। तो हर चीज़ को, जैसे ही हमारे घर में कोई मेहमान आने वाला होता है और पार्टी की जब चर्चा होती है, तो उसमें क्या होता है कि सबसे पहले हम घर के सामान को ठीक करते हैं, और हर चीज़ को जो है उसकी जगह पर रखते हैं। जो भी अन्यथा या एक्स्ट्रा जिसे हम कहेंगे वो सामान होता है, उसको कहाँ पे, मेज के नीचे रखेंगे, अलमारी में रख देंगे, या फिर जो है ऐसा सामान जिसे हम दिखाना नहीं चाहते हैं उसे हम इधर उधर रखेंगे। वही दौर चल रहा है, और पूरा जो है नियंत्रण जो है वो किसके हाथ में है? पूरा नियंत्रण जो है सामनाथ के हाथ में। सामनाथ क्या कह रहे हैं कि जो है इस चीज़ को यहाँ पे रखो, इस चीज़ को यहाँ पे रखो। बीवी क्या कर रही है? बीवी फटाफट जो उन्होंने गाउन पहना हुआ है और फटाफट इधर उधर जो है सामान रख रही है, लगा रही हैं, और उन्होंने अपने जो बाल हैं वो ऊपर खौंस रखे, जो सामान्यतः जो महिलाएं करती है। ऐसा एक दृश्य जो है हमारे सामने कहानीकार ने प्रस्तुत किया है, और उसी के बीच में जो है एकदम से जो है ध्यान आता है सामनाथ को, अरे पूरी जो पार्टी होगी सब कुछ जो है जगह पर है, हर चीज़, लेकिन माँ की तरफ तो ध्यान ही नहीं गया। माँ की तरफ ध्यान नहीं गया मतलब माँ कैसे रहेगी, कहाँ, माँ का क्या करना है। माँ और बीवी कहती है ये तुम्हारी माँ का झमेला। जी हाँ, आज का जो समाज है उसमें बूढ़े माता पिता झमेला ही तो हो गए हैं लोगों के लिए। और क्या कहती, तुम्हारी ये माँ का झमेला। तो कह रहे अच्छे भले आपके भाई जो है माँ को लेके जा रहे थे, लेकिन आप हैं कि मानते ही नहीं हैं। क्या कह रहे हैं कि माँ को जो है यहीं पर मैं ले आया, यहाँ रहेगी माँ तो अच्छा रहेगा, मैं माँ को वहाँ नहीं भेजूंगा। अब लो अब संभालो अपनी माँ को। और इसी प्रकार से जब जो आते हैं तो सामनाथ बुलाते हैं माँ को, माँ जरा इधर आना। हाँ बेटा बोलो। तो माँ आज तुम क्या करना कि आज जैसे आज आपको तो जो है पार्टी है आज, और मेरे बॉस की पार्टी है, और बॉस को मुझे खुश करना है। किस लिए हम बॉस की चापलूसियाँ करते हैं? किस लिए हम बॉस को, अपने से बड़े अधिकारी को जो है खुश रखना चाहते हैं? ताकि हमारा प्रमोशन हो। प्रमोशन होगा तो और ज़्यादा पैसा आएगा, और ज़्यादा पैसा आएगा तो जो है समृद्धि और आएगी, और जो है समाज में जो है हमारा स्टेटस जो है थोड़ा ऊंचा होगा। यही तो चल रहा है आज के समय में। यही सारी चीज़ें तो जो है हमें चारों तरफ देखने को मिल रही हैं। चारों तरफ चाटुकारिता का जो है भंवर जो है वो फैला हुआ है। और उसी प्रकार से फिर जो है कहानी को थोड़ा रिदम दर रिदम, शिल्प दर शिल्प जब भीष्म साहनी आगे बढ़ाते हैं तो माँ क्या कहती है? माँ क्या है, बेटा जो है मुझे क्या करना है? कहता है माँ आज तुम खाना जल्दी खा लेना, मेहमान लोग 7:30 बजे तक आना शुरू हो जाएंगे। जी हाँ। तो कहती है कि बेटा आपको तो पता ही है कि मैं जो है शाम को जो है खाना वाना तो मैं कम ही खाती हूँ। ठीक है, वो मुझे नहीं सुनना है, लेकिन तुम्हें क्या करना है, जब मेहमान आएंगे तो तुम्हें क्या करना है इस बात को तुम गौर से सुनो। अच्छा माँ तुम पहनोगी क्या? पहनोगी तो बेटा मैं पहन लूँगी। आप बताओ बेटा मैं क्या पहनूँ? तो क्या है मेरे पास पहनने को, या मैं किस में अच्छी लगती हूँ जो मैं पहनूँ? तो कहते हैं कि माँ तुम ऐसा करना, वो वाइट वाला कुर्ता पहन लेना और सफ़ेद वाली ही सलवार पहन लेना, दोनों तुम वाइट पहन लेना। और जरा अच्छा माँ सुनो तो, वो तुम पहन के दिखाओ मुझे। हाँ, और माँ बेचारी सहमी सी डरी सी चुपचाप जाके अपनी कोठरी में जाती है और कपड़े पहन के आती है। बेचारी के बाल जो है आधे की वो जो है झड़ चुके हैं। और क्या कहते हैं, कहाँ क्या दिखाया है भीष्म साहनी की, जैसे ही माँ जो है छोटी दुबली पतली सी काया और उसमें जो है वो कुर्ता और जो सलवार जो पहन के माँ आती है तो जो है पहले से थोड़ी कम कुरूप लगती है। माँ का कोई रूप होता है? आज जो हम बात कर रहे हैं, आज दुनिया में जो है अपनी माँ से खूबसूरत कोई स्त्री होती है? कैसा चित्र खींचा है भीष्म साहनी ने। लेके जा रहे हैं हम एक संवेदना के एक भंवर में कि भीष्म साहनी जो है वो बता रहे हैं कि माँ जो है वो किस तरीके से जो है, कैसे एक उम्र के बाद वो है, आज हम जो है किस तरीके से हम माँ को रख रहे हैं, कौन सी माँ की मर्यादा जो है का निर्वाह हम कर रहे हैं। और उसके बाद जो है उसकी जो बीवी है वो बोलती है आप ही देखो माँ वाले मैटर को, मुझे नहीं पता है, आप देखो आप क्या करना है क्या नहीं करना है। तो माँ बेचारी आती है, आने के बाद जो है वह बोलती है कि ठीक है माँ तुम ये पहन लेना। हाँ देखो माँ क्या करना है तुमको, जैसे ही वो लोग यहाँ पे आएंगे हॉल में, तुम बरामदे में चली जाना, और उस समय जैसे ही बरामदे में आने वाले हों तब तुम्हें क्या करना है कि पीछे वाले रास्ते से आकर तुम जो है वो अपनी कोठरी के बाहर बैठ जाना। और बैठना कैसे? चलो बैठ के दिखाओ। और चेयर पे कुर्सी पे जो है माँ बैठती है वह कोठरी के बाहर। तो बेचारी माँ ग्रामीण समाज में रही है, और उसके बाद जो है वो क्या बैठती है तो दोनों पैर उठा के कुर्सी पे बैठ जाती है। तो क्या कहते हैं, माँ कुर्सी पे पैर लटका के बैठो, कुर्सी पे ऐसे नहीं बैठते हैं। यानी कि हम बताते हैं ना, शहर में रहने वाले जो बच्चे हैं या विदेश में रहने वाले जो बच्चे हैं वो बताते हैं माँ बाप को कि कैसे रहना चाहिए माँ बाप को। मम्मा आप मेरे कॉलेज में जा रही हैं तो आपको ये वाला कपड़े पहनने चाहिए, मेरी दोस्तों से ऐसी बात करनी चाहिए। यही तो हम जो है देखते हैं सामान्यतः रोज़ की घटनाएं। इसके अलावा अगर हम देखते हैं मैत्री पुष्पा की अगर मैं बात करूँ तो मैत्री पुष्पा क्या बताती है अपनी गुड़िया भीतर गुड़िया में, कहती है कि मेरी माँ जो है वो पंचों के बीच में बैठी हुई है, मेरी विधवा माँ जो है वो बैठी हुई है और लोग उसको देख रहे हैं। मेरी माँ का चेहरा जो है वो रोने के कारण एकदम से मुरझा गया है और जो है लोग उसको देख रहे हैं। यानी कि जो है एक स्त्री जब विधवा हो जाती है उसका चेहरा जो है वो पहले से कहीं ज़्यादा, अगर वो सामान्य भी अगर है, खूबसूरत है तो सामान्य, और सामान्य है तो एकदम कुरूप जो है वो लगने लगता है। और वो अगर जिम्मेवारियों का निर्वाह करने लगती है तो लोगों के दृष्टिकोण उसके प्रति बदल जाता है। विधवा है, कोई है साथ में नहीं है, तो इससे क्या है, कुछ ना कुछ इसे अब हमारी ज़रूरत पड़ेगी। और अपनी माँ की मौत पर भी मैत्री पुष्पा कहती है कि स्वाभाविक रूप से मुझे माँ की मौत पर रोना चाहिए था, लेकिन मैं रो नहीं पा रही थी। कैसी बेटी हूँ मैं, क्यों मैं रो ही नहीं पा रही? कारण कि जो चीज़ें ज़मीन जायदाद के लिए जो लोग लड़ रहे हैं, झगड़ रहे हैं, वो जो है वो मुद्दा सबसे ज़्यादा ज्वलंत हो गया है। यहाँ पर भी जो है माँ को रखना एक बोझ की तरह से भीष्म साहनी ने इस कहानी में दिखाया है। और माँ जो है, जैसे ही माँ जो है कुर्सी पर बैठती है तो नहीं माँ ऐसे बैठो, और फिर उसके बाद जो है माँ बेचारी लज्जित सी अपने आप को महसूस करती है। क्या कहती है माँ? लज्जित सी आवाज़ में बोली, क्या करूँ बेटा, मेरे बस की बात नहीं। जब से क्या है बीमारी से उठी हूँ, नाक से सांस नहीं ले पाती हूँ। देखो माँ, तुमको क्या करना है कि तुमको जो है सोना नहीं है, सोगी तो क्या होगा, सोने से जो है तुम खराटे लेती हो और पास में ही मेहमान होंगे, तुम्हारे खराटे सुनेंगे और मजाक का पात्र बनेंगे हम लोग। तो तुमको सोना नहीं है, इस बात को ध्यान रखना है कि तुमको जागते रहना है। और माँ जो है वो क्या करती है कि भाई जो है ठीक कहती है, अच्छा माँ तुमने ये क्या, कपड़े तो तुम्हारे ठीक है लेकिन तुम हाथों में चूड़ियाँ भी पहन लेती। कहाँ से पहनूं बेटा चूड़ियाँ तो है ही नहीं मेरे पास। जैसे ही तुम्हारी पढ़ाई लिखाई में जो है ज़रूरत पड़ी थी तो उसमें मैंने अपने सारे गहने बेच दिए थे। अरे माँ तुम ये क्या झमेला बीच में लेके आ गई, कहाँ गहनों का झमेला बीच में आ गया? नहीं बेटा, होते तो मैं पहनती, होते तो मैं ज़रूर पहन लेती, लेकिन तुम्हारी पढ़ाई लिखाई में मैंने बेच दिए तो बिक गए, तो कहाँ से पहनूं? अब तुम वो सारा रोना लेके बैठ गई हो। ये तुम्हारी मतलब आज हमारे घर में पार्टी है और तुम ये गड़े मुर्दे उखाड़ रही हो। कितने गहने चाहिए तुमको? अरे बेटा मेरी जीभ जल जाए, मुझे नहीं चाहिए गहने, तुमसे गहने लूँगी मैं, लेकिन क्या करूं, एकदम से तुमने गहनों की याद दिलाई तो मेरे मुंह से निकल गया। माँ तुम तो सही समय पे हमेशा उल्टी ही बात बोलती हो। और बेटा जो है एकदम से तमतमा जाता है। माँ बेचारी डर सी जाती है और सहम सी जाती है और कुछ नहीं बोलती है, लेकिन जो है वह काफ़ी जो है आहत होती है। और आहत होने के बाद जो है अपनी कोठरी में चली जाती है। उसके बाद जो है पार्टी होती है, पार्टी अपने पूरे मेहमान आते हैं, मेहमानबाजी होती है। और उसके बाद जो है एक समय आता है, एक ऐसा समय, एक ऐसी घटना घट जाती है जिसका काफ़ी समय से डर होता है। यानी कि जिस रास्ते से बॉस गुजर रहे थे, जिस तरह चीफ जो है वो वहाँ से गुजरने लगे तो क्या देखते हैं, सामने एक दुबली सी काया। और जो है माँ जो कुर्सी पे बैठी थी तो बेचारी को बैठे बैठे नींद आ गई। और नींद आने से क्या है कि जो उनकी जो स्वाभाविक जो नेचर था, खर्राटे मार रही है माँ, और बेचारी का पल्लू जो है नीचे गिर गया है। और उसे देखकर वहाँ से जाने वाले सब लोग एकदम से जब देखते हैं तो खिलखिला के हंस पड़ते हैं, अरे ये क्या है। और ऐसे देखने के बाद जो है सब लोग जो पार्टी में आए हुए थे वो हंसने लगते हैं। और हंसने लगते हैं तो माँ एकदम सहम के उठती है। बेटा एकदम गुस्से से तनतना जाता है, ये तो यानी कि अब तो माँ ने पूरा ही कबाड़ा करवा दिया, अब क्या होगा। और उसके बाद जो है जैसे ही बोलना, अरे माँ थोड़ा ढंग से बैठो ना, तो माँ बेचारी डर ये उठती है और अपना पल्लू संभालती है और बैठती है। एकदम से जो है वह हड़बड़ा कर क्या है उठ बैठी। सामने क्या है खड़े इतने लोगों को देखकर ऐसी घबराई कि कुछ कहते नहीं बना। झट से पल्ला सिर पर करती हैं और खड़ी हो गई, जमीन को देखने लगी। उसके पांव लड़खड़ाने लगते हैं और हाथों की उंगलियां थर थर कांपने लगती हैं, लेकिन बहुत संभाल लेते हैं। अच्छा 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 अच्छा, नमस्ते माँ जी। और जैसे ही नमस्ते बोलते हैं तो जो है बेटा थोड़ा सा वो लगता है, हाँ हाँ बेटा नमस्ते नमस्ते करता है। और उसके बाद जो है जैसे जैसे वो बात शुरू होती है तो जो है बॉस उस चीज़ को संभाल लेते हैं और कहते हैं कि जो है आप कुछ मुझे सुनाइए, कुछ आपको कुछ, अरे अरे नहीं नहीं साहब, मेरी माँ को कुछ आता नहीं है। और अंग्रेजी में हाउ डू यू डू, हाउ आर यू, कुछ ऐसे ऐसे वाक्यों का प्रयोग किया जाता है। अच्छा माँ साहब ये पूछ रहे हैं, ये पूछ रहे हैं। बेटा लगा हुआ है। अब बेटे को लगा कि माँ ने तो पूरी जो है इज्जत का जो है जो क्या कहेंगे हम उसे, इज्जत को ख़राब ही करवा दिया है। अब जो है पूरा माहौल जो है वो बिगड़ जाएगा और ये बात मेरे खिलाफ जाएगी। और उसके बाद जो है जैसे, लेकिन बात यहाँ दूसरी तरफ घूम जाती है। साहब बोलते मुझे गांव के लोग बहुत पसंद हैं, गांव के लोग जो हैं वो मुझे अच्छे लगते हैं। अच्छा तो माँ जी आप कोई गांव का कोई गीत मुझे सुनाइए, आपको कुछ आता होगा। अरे नहीं नहीं बेटा मुझे तो कहाँ कुछ आता है। अरे नहीं नहीं माँ तुम सुनाती हो, तुमको आता है, तुम तो गाती रहती हो। अरे कुछ सुनाओ ना, साहब सुनना चाहते हैं। नहीं नहीं बेटा मुझे कहाँ आता है, और इस उम्र में कहाँ मुझे कुछ याद भी नहीं है। नहीं 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 माँ तुम तो गाती हो, सुनाओ सुनाओ कुछ सुनाओ। और माँ बेचारी जो है जिस तरीके से क्या है कि हम अपने छोटे बच्चे को, कई बार क्या है कि हमारा बड़ा अधिकारी मान लीजिए आ जाता है, हम अपने बच्चे को बोलते चलो 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 पैर छुओ सर के, सर पैर छुओ। और बच्चा जो है वो बच्चा है, नहीं समझता है, और नहीं समझता है तो फिर वो नहीं छूता है। नहीं छूता तो हम क्या करते हैं, उसके बाद हम बच्चे को क्या करते हैं, जाने के बाद हम बच्चे की खूब पिटाई करते हैं। तुमने मेरी जो है इंसल्ट करवा दी, तुम्हें जो है मैंने क्या सोचेंगे मेरे बारे में, क्या कोई संस्कार नहीं है, कितना भी समझाओ तुम समय पर कुछ करते ही नहीं हो। वही हालत सामनाथ की हो जाती है। और वह माँ को थोड़ा सा आदेश के लहजे में जो बोलता है, बेटा सुनाओ माँ, तो माँ को लगता है कि नहीं, मुझे बेचारी टूटी फूटी आवाज़ में गाती है। और उस समय जो है सारा माहौल जो है वो खुशनुमा हो जाता है। और जो बॉस है जब बैठता है माँ के पास और कहता है कि माँ अच्छा अच्छा तो माँ तुम्हारे यहाँ पे कहाँ, पंजाब में, ओके पंजाब की जो तो पंजाब में क्या वहाँ का जो है प्रसिद्ध वहाँ का क्या है। तो माँ बताती है कि वहाँ की पश्मीना यानी कि धागे की जो कढ़ाई होती है जिस पे वो करते हैं, तो वहाँ का जो है वहाँ की जो फुलवारी है, फुलकारी जिसे कहेंगे हम, फुलकारी वहाँ की बहुत ही प्रसिद्ध है। तो अच्छा माँ तुमने अच्छा 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 तो आप ये बताइए कि आपने माँ जी कोई फुलकारी आपके पास होगी, मैं देखना चाहता हूँ। और बेटा तो एकदम से खिलखिला उठा, बेटे का चेहरा जो है वो खिल गया कि अरे ये तो पासा पलट गया। माँ तो जो है जिस माँ को छुपाने की वस्तु समझ रहा था, जिस माँ के कारण उसे लग रहा था कि जो है उसे दिखाया नहीं जाना चाहिए, उसे उपेक्षा यानी कि उससे कहीं उसका जो है नुकसान ना हो जाए, इसलिए जो है बेटा अपनी माँ को छुपा रहा था। और यहाँ पे जब उसे लगा कि नहीं माँ का तो जो है माँ के कारण तो जो है उसका अच्छा हो रहा है, तो उसने उसको प्रमोट करना शुरू किया। नहीं नहीं माँ, नहीं नहीं माँ, और दिखाओ ना, तुम्हारे पास तो है ना वो वाली फुलकारी। अरे बेटा वो पुरानी हो गई है, वो क्या फुलकारी है। नहीं 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 माँ लेकर आओ। लेकर आती है तो कह रही नहीं साहब मेरी माँ बना देगी। करते हैं ना, सामान्यतः आज भी हमारे समाज में यही होता है। चापलूसी की हदें इतनी पार कर गया है भारतीय समाज में, जो देख रहे हैं कि अपने छोटे छोटे स्वार्थों के लिए लोग जो हैं हर जो है चापलूसी और प्रशंसा की जब हम बात करते हैं तो चापलूसी किसे कहते हैं और प्रशंसा किसे कहते हैं। अगर ये सवाल आता है तो प्रशंसा वह होती है कि सामने अगर व्यक्ति है और उस व्यक्ति में जो गुण है अगर आप उसकी तारीफ नहीं करते हैं तो वह ईर्ष्या है। जो गुण आप देख रहे हैं और उसको आप कह नहीं पा रहे हैं तो आप क्या कर रहे हैं, आप जो है ईर्ष्या कर रहे हैं। और जो गुण नहीं है उसके बाद आप चाटुकारिता किए जा रहे हैं तो वह होती है, उसे हम क्या कहेंगे, उसे हम कहेंगे चापलूसी। और बेटा जो है प्रमोशन के लिए जो है चापलूसी करने में पूर्ण जो है इस कला में पूरा माहिर है और वह चापलूसी किए जा रहा है। और कहते हैं कि नहीं नहीं अब मैं फिर से जब आऊँगा तो मैं क्या करूँगा कि जो है आप मुझे ये जो है फुलकारी आप मुझे बना के देंगी। नहीं मेरा बेटा मुझे आंखों से दिखाई नहीं देता, मैं कैसे फुलकारी बनाऊंगी। अरे नहीं नहीं माँ तुमको फुलकारी बना सकती हो, तुम बना लेना और तुम बना दोगी। तो कहते हैं कि माँ फिर से मना करते, नहीं नहीं माँ, क्या तुम मेरा कहना नहीं मानोगी? बोले ठीक ठीक है बेटा, और माँ कुछ नहीं कहती। और जैसे ही वो लोग और ऐसा करते हुए जो है वो आगे बढ़ जाते हैं, और फिर सिलसिला शुरू होता है पार्टी में जो है किस चीज़ का, आज का जो नया जो समय है उसमें ड्रिंक का, या फिर जो जो चीज़ें जो हैं परोसी गई हैं वो देख रहे हैं। इसी कहानी में दिखा रहे हैं कि जो साहब की जो चीफ की जो मैडम है वो जो है सामनाथ की बीवी के साथ बैठी हुई हैं, और ऐसे लग रहा है जैसे वर्षों की पुरानी बहनें हों, ऐसे बातें कर रही हैं, और चारों तरफ क्या है एक जो है खुशी का माहौल है। और माँ क्या माँ का चेहरे का रंग बदलने लगा। क्या है होती है, धीरे धीरे वह अंदर अपनी कोठरी में जाती है, और जाने के बाद क्या करती है कि मगर कोठरी में बैठने की देर थी कि आंखों से छल छल करके आंसू बहने लगे। वह दुपट्टे से बार बार उन्हें पोंछती है, पर बार बार उमड़ आते हैं जैसे बरसों का बांध तोड़कर उमड़ आए हों। माँ ने बहुत ही दिल को समझाया, हाथ जोड़े, भगवान का नाम लिया, बेटे की चिरायु होने की प्रार्थना की, बार बार आंखें बंद की, मगर आंसू बरसात के पानी की तरह से थमने का नाम ही नहीं ले रहे थे। एक माँ जो अपने बच्चे को जो है 9 महीने पेट गर्भ में रखती है, उसके बाद उसका पालन पोषण करती है, और उस जगत जननी जिसके कारण हम इस धरा पर आते हैं, अंत में उसी के लिए हमारे पास क्या है, उसी के लिए हमारे पास न समय होता है, न उसकी देखभाल में जो चीज़ें जब उसे हमारी ज़रूरत होती है तो उस समय हम उसके पास नहीं होते हैं। इसी भाव को लेकर जो है भीष्म साहनी ने यह कहानी लिखी है कि जिस समय भीष्म साहनी लिख रहे थे उसमें टूटते हुए रिश्ते, समाज का यथार्थ और जो है आधुनिकता, सारी चीज़ें उसमें दिखाई जा रही थी। लेकिन भीष्म साहनी ने इस कहानी में क्या है, इस कहानी में संवेदना के तंतु को पकड़ा, और वो काफ़ी हद तक जो है वो सफल भी रहे हैं। इस कहानी का में जब अंत में जब जो बेटा है वो माँ के पास जाता है तो कहता है कि माँ तुमको जो है बेटा जो तुमको जो है वो फुलकारी बनानी है। तो माँ कहती बेटा अब मुझे हरिद्वार छोड़ाओ, मैं यहाँ नहीं रहना चाहती हूँ, अब मैं वहाँ पे मैं रह लूँगी। अच्छा तुम मुझे छोड़ के जाना चाहती हो, अब फुलकारी नहीं बनाना चाहती हो, और फुलकारी नहीं बनाओगी तो साहब खुश नहीं होंगे, साहब खुश नहीं होंगे तो मुझे प्रमोशन नहीं मिलेगा, और मुझे प्रमोशन नहीं मिलेगा यानी कि तुम चाहती हो कि मुझे प्रमोशन ना मिले, यानी कि मेरी तरक्की ना हो। और माँ क्या है जो है तुम मेरी तरक्की नहीं देख सकती हो, इसीलिए बहाना बना के तुम हरिद्वार जाने का अब नाम ले रही हो, अब तुम हरिद्वार जाओगी। तो माँ को लगता है कि ये क्या हो रहा है। बेटा उसे गले से लगाता है और वो कहता है कि माँ नहीं माँ, तुमको फुलकारी बनानी है इसलिए तुमको हरिद्वार नहीं जाना है, हरिद्वार में तुम्हें नहीं जाने दूंगा, नहीं तो मेरे बॉस फिर से आएंगे और फिर से पूछेंगे। यही तो आज का जो आधुनिक जो समाज है उसकी नब्ज को इस कहानी के माध्यम से भीष्म साहनी ने दिखाया है। माँ का चेहरा एक रंग बदलने लगता है, धीरे धीरे उसकी झुर्रियों भरा मुंह खिलने लगा, आंखों में हल्की हल्की चमक आने लगी। तो तेरी तरक्की इसी से होगी बेटा। हम जो है इतने संवेदनहीन हो गए हैं कि हमें जो सामने की जो चीज़ें हैं वो दिखाई ही नहीं दे रही हैं। क्या आज जो बेटा है वह जो है वृद्ध नहीं होगा, जो बेटे की पत्नी है वह क्या सास नहीं होगी? कौन से समाज का हम निर्माण कर रहे हैं, कौन सी आधुनिकता का हम ढिंढोरा पीट रहे हैं? भीष्म साहनी ने इस कहानी के माध्यम से यही हमें दिखाया है कि आधुनिक जो समाज है उसमें तरक्की का मतलब क्या रह गया है, और तरक्की की जो है किस प्रकार से तरक्की दी जा रही है। योग्यता को नकारते हुए लोग जो है किस चीज़ की तरफ जो है खींचे जा रहे हैं, और किस प्रकार का माहौल हमने हमारे चारों तरफ जो है स्थापित कर दिया है। बच्चे को अगर आपसे चीज़ लेनी होती है तो बच्चा आपके पास आता है कि मम्मा मुझे ये लेना है, पापा मुझे ये लेना है, तो आप कितने अच्छे लग रहे हो, आप ये हो, आप वो हो। हम क्या सिखा रहे हैं? आपने कभी सोचा है कि हमारे बच्चे ऐसा क्यों बोल रहे हैं? वो जो सीरियल या जो धारावाहिक देख रहे हैं उसमें चीज़ें लेने के लिए, यानी कि जिस समय हम बच्चे को प्रलोभन दे रहे होते हैं चॉकलेट का, उस समय हम उसे चापलूसी सिखा रहे होते हैं कि हम तुम्हारे लिए ये चीज़ लेके आएंगे। और तुम जो है बच्चा अपने आप, एक 5-6 साल का बच्चा भी इस चीज़ को बड़ी अच्छी से समझ चुका है कि समाज का क्या माहौल है, और इसी माहौल को, इसी समाज को, इसी यथार्थ को भीष्म साहनी ने चीफ की दावत कहानी के माध्यम से रखा है चीफ की दावत कहानी आज का जो मध्यम वर्गीय समाज है, जो मरा जा रहा है प्रगति के लिए, निम्न से मध्यम वर्ग में आया और मध्यम से उच्च वर्ग की जो होड़ में जो लगा है, वही एक जो है मूल रूप से उसी यथार्थ को भीष्म साहनी ने इस कहानी के माध्यम से हमारे सामने दिखाया है कि व्यक्ति जो है उसकी संवेदनाएं मर चुकी हैं। आज सब कुछ उसका जो है कैरियर, प्रगति, तरक्की से ही हर चीज को जोड़कर देखा जाता है, जिसके चलते मानवीय मूल्यों का जो है निरंतर जो है हस्र हो रहा है। निरंतर जो है नैतिक मूल्य जो है वो गिरते जा रहे हैं और कोई भी समाज, कोई भी देश जब वो उस समय तक विकास नहीं कर सकता जब तक उसके नैतिक मूल्य दृढ़ ना हो। नैतिक मूल्य जो है इंसान का वजूद होते हैं और उन्हीं नैतिक मूल्यों की गिरावट को जो है आज हम चारों तरफ हम देख रहे हैं। भीष्म साहनी ने उन्हीं मूल्यों की गिरावट को इस कहानी के माध्यम से समाज के सामने रखा है और एक ऐसा मार्मिक दृश्य खींचा है कि आज एक व्यक्ति जो है वो किस तरीके से जो है वो अपने फायदे के लिए जो है किस तरीके के शब्दों का, किस तरीके की चीज़ों का जो है वो प्रयोग कर रहा है। तरक्की यूं ही हो जाएगी, साहब को खुश रखूंगा तो कुछ करेगा, वरना जो है उनकी जो है खिदमत करने वाले बहुत हैं। क्या है, माँ का दिल ही दिल बेटे के उज्जवल भविष्य की कामनाएं करने लगा। मिस्टर श्यामनाथ अब जो है वो चल पड़ते हैं और वो इस बात से पूरा कहानी के अंत में कहानीकार ने निष्कर्ष के रूप में जो कहा है कि माँ उज्जवल कामना कर रही है बच्चे की भविष्य की और बेटा क्या कर रहा है, बेटा समझ चुका था कि अब माँ उसके फिर से उसके गिरफ्त में है। कब तक जो है माएँ जो है इस मोह से मुक्त नहीं होंगी, कब तक जो है माँ इस चीज़ को समझ नहीं पाएंगी। यानी कि आज समय का जो बदलाव है वह इस चीज़ की मांग कर रहा है कि भले ही जो है हमें जो है विकास करना चाहिए, लेकिन अपने नैतिक मूल्यों को, अपनों को ताक पर रख कर हम जो है तरक्की जो प्राप्त करते हैं वह कोई तरक्की नहीं होती है। आज का जो भारतीय समाज है उसकी एक ऐसी विडंबना को, एक ऐसे जिसे हम कहेंगे कि यथार्थ को भीष्म साहनी ने रखा है कि मानवीय मूल्यों से बड़ा, संवेदना से बड़ा और अपनों से बड़ा कोई नहीं होता है। जो हमें जन्म देने वाले हैं उनके अलावा जो है जो उनके साथ जो हम व्यवहार कर रहे हैं और जो प्रतिदिन आम होता जा रहा है वह निश्चित रूप से एक असहनीय पीड़ा की तरफ व्यक्ति विशेष को ले जा रहा है। तो चीफ की दावत कहानी इन्हीं संवेदनाओं को, इन्हीं मानवीय मूल्यों को लेकर हमारे सामने थी।